What do you say, everybody? With Jay Barker, I'm Mick Gillispie. It's time for Crimson Tide headlines on the Bama Insider YouTube channel, part of the On3 network. And we're going to talk about everything Alabama going into this game against Texas. That's coming up 11 o'clock on Saturday. But before we get there, and before I bring on Jay, even though you can see him there, let me remind you guys that we want you to like and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. Hit the bell. The thumbs up is your way of saying Roll Tide to us. A couple of Alabama grads that love the Crimson Tide, and they're talking to you guys here. The bell lets you know anytime we're live that we've got shows on the Bama Insider YouTube channel. Subscribe, because we're on a quest right now to have as many subscribers as there are seats and fans at Bryant-Denny Stadium when Alabama plays a football game. So we got all that going on. And let me say this to you as well. Now that we're with On3, we want you to be part of On3. It's really easy to do. Go to BamaInsider.com, and right now you get a full year, 1 year of BamaInsider.com for $1. $1. The whole thing, a whole year for $1. That's a great deal, isn't it, Jay?
Unbelievable deal. Unbelievable. Yes. Great deal. I'm going to stay away from the mic. I got all the comments well, at least Chris told me, comments saying that I was breathing. So I'm going to stay back from the mic a little bit during between when we're talking and stuff. Make sure this mic does pick up a bunch. But great to have all the comments. Great to have all the people listening in, watching as well. But yeah, $1 a year. Can't beat that. No doubt.
Yeah, look, a comment section, we pay attention to what you guys say. So thank you for making your comments.
Well, Darth Vader there for you.
It was probably because you were hustling to get to the microphone.
Oh, my gosh. Getting done with the show at 2 o'clock and then trying to get everything set up and all that. But all good. All good.
All right. Well, look, let's get into this game. Alabama and Texas kick off 11 o'clock on Saturday. It's a 20-point spread, up to a 20.5 with some books. I just can't believe that. 20.5. Alabama's going to be good, right? But could they possibly go in there and beat Texas by 20.5 points?
You know, I think to last year, Mick, and you look on the road against Florida, against A&M, and against Auburn, I mean, there were some struggles, right? Handling the atmosphere, the environment. The good thing about that, you got all the defenses back as far as the leaders, Henry To'oTo'o making the calls, Will Anderson being a great leader on that side of the football, Bryce being used to that type of environment now in the SEC. So, you know, the experience factor from last year I think is going to help them a lot going into Texas. But it's going to be loud. I mean, this is a Super Bowl for them. It's pretty much a Super Bowl every time Alabama lines up against another opponent. This is the best in the country. They've been the best at it for the last 15 years with Coach Saban at the helm. So the 20-point spread, it does seem like a lot. But I think Alabama's talent, I think the youth of the team from a Texas standpoint on both sides of the football, they got a great running back in Bijan Robinson. We look at Quinn as far as what he could do at the quarterback position, but still pretty relatively inexperienced. I mean, last year, having his chance to Ohio State and then transfer in after making $1 million in NIL deals, and then gets to Texas, and now it's his job. It's his opportunity to show. And to me, this is a bigger showcase for Steve Sarkisian and Texas. I mean, this is a bigger moment for them. He's tried to play that down and say, look, this doesn't define us. It doesn't define our season, doesn't define our program, but it could be a lot for them. And I'm not even meaning them winning the game. I'm saying if they're able to stay close in this game, that would be unbelievable, I think, for them, and I think for their program. It could go a long ways for Steve Sarkisian. They got Arch Manning coming in as their quarterback. They want to continue to build off of that in their recruiting class for 2023. So a good showing would be a lot. A win would be huge. I don't think they're going to get it done. I think Alabama can get to that 20-point spread, no doubt about it, but still going to be a tough environment.
Yeah, I mean, 20 just seems so like no one expects Texas to do anything. Quinn Ewers, I get it. Like, the last time he started 2 games in a row was when he was in high school, his junior year, right? I mean, so
right.
You get that part of it, and I understand that. But what I'm saying is 20 points. Look, Alabama has crushed teams when they've played them in these opening games, but they've been at neutral sites. I didn't think Alabama played that well last year on the road. You had the Florida game,
yeah.
The Florida game, right, where they barely won. They couldn't hold on to their win. They had the Auburn game, which they got out with, for dear life. I mean, really lucky to win. And then, they lost the game against A&M. I mean, so 20 points, that just seems like such a high mountain to have to climb here.
Yeah, and I forget who just put up there in the comments. LSU in 2019 went there. Look how explosive they were as an offense. What a great team. And there it is. Thanks, Jarvis. Puts it up there. In 2019, LSU went into Austin, only won by 7, so we can't take them lightly, especially in Austin. Great comment there by Jarvis. And that's true. I mean, the environments are tough, and Texas has got a great fan base. One of the things we're going to get into a little bit later on as far as the bands, we won't talk about that now, but that's going to be a huge deal for Alabama as well with the $1 million band not being there. But this, again, could be a huge statement for Sark, a big win for Texas that they're able to pull off. I think even if they're able to keep it close. But Vegas, I don't know. They figured out. They know a lot when they set these point lines.
So Alabama takes on Texas. And, when you look at this game as far as like personnel goes, we talked about Ewers, Bijan Robinson, their running back, Jay. He's one of the best in the country, but Alabama's defense is one of the best in the country. And I would say, defensive line, linebackers, secondary. I mean, that Alabama defense, they gave up one big play against Utah State at the beginning of the game and then kind of shut them down after that. How would Texas be able to stay in the game offensively?
The biggest thing is play clean football. I mean, anytime in big matchups like this, you can't have the penalties, you can't have the turnovers. You got to play as clean as possible. Don't give Alabama anything. Quinn Ewers got to be careful with the ball. But Sark did a really good job with him last game. Early downs, first down. I think they were like 9 of 11 on first down of getting completion passes and really good gainers to get him in what's called on schedule or ahead of schedule as far as the sticks, and allowing him to be in second and short, third and short. I think that really helped them. If they can do that against Alabama, that's something that Alabama wants to combat against. They want to get him in third and long, second and long, make him have to throw the football, make them more of a one-dimensional team. That's you beat young quarterbacks when they don't have a run game. Run game and tight ends are the best thing a young quarterback can have, and a great offensive line especially. But if you have that running game, if you got a tight end that can block and catch out of the backfield or catch from that position, it really makes it a lot easier on the quarterback. So Alabama's going to try to shut that down, make him one-dimensional, make him throw the football to have to beat you. Hopefully then, whether it's through sacks, through turnovers, through interceptions, all that type of stuff, that Alabama can then begin to maybe pour it on there as the game goes on. I still think it's going to be a tough environment early on. It may be a close game after the first quarter. I think Alabama's depth and experience on both sides of football will enable them to get to that 20-point spread.
Big spread, but look, Alabama, maybe some question marks at offensive line. We started to see what they could do at wide receiver. No question marks at all on defense, though. And Texas is going to have their work cut out for them, but they will have the home field advantage, and they'll also have their band there. Alabama won't have their band at the game. Really odd, kind of what makes SEC a lot of fun is that the bands, right? All the bands travel, and Texas, when they come into the SEC, they're going to be, by rule, forced to give Alabama and all the visiting teams lower level seats, enough to put the band in the lower level. The way that their league is right now, they can get away with putting everyone in the upper deck. And my moment 10, hey, Roll Tide, thank you for the super sticker. We really appreciate it, man. So for this trip, the band was supposed to sit in the upper deck. They couldn't get all their stuff up there. It was too small. And we don't have the band. It's kind of disappointing. The band in college sports is part of the fun.
No doubt. And for the players, it's kind of like you can hear your fans, but they're not as loud as the other fans, right? But your band, you can hear them. You can hear them playing, whether it's your fight song, whether it's, any type of music that you're used to hearing in Bryant-Denny Stadium. You feel a little bit more at home when big plays happening and they go crazy and start the celebration. I think that's the thing that you're going to miss out. And I don't know why the Big 12 did this, or why they made this rule to where you could do that, put the visitors up in the upper deck, all that type of stuff. I mean, SEC does not do that. So Texas, this is your last time, maybe second to last time, of getting to do that before you enter the SEC. The band will be there, will be a part of that. But I hate it for the band members too. Think about all the hard work they put in throughout the summer, throughout the time. We think about the football players, but the band puts in a lot of work as well, leading all the way up into it. Coach Saban brings them over to do the fight song and teach the young players how to do that. And all those students in Alabama, they're part of $1 Million Band, looking forward to that experience of traveling to Austin, watching this game with Alabama, Texas. I mean, that is a lifelong and lifetime memory that you will have, and they're not going to be able to experience that now. I think it's a shame. I mean, I really do. I hate the fact that they can't be there, be a part of that. It wants me for Alabama to win even by 40 or 50. or 60.
Right. And apparently the athletic director came in and said, hey, you know what? We want to give the student section some lower level seats. And that's where they took them away from the visiting teams. But like I said, when they come into the SEC, from what I understand, this is not acceptable. And I don't think it is acceptable. I was never a fan of, not giving the opposition a little bit of hospitality, right? I mean, you're paying all this money for tickets. Give them their little section of the lower level. Do it the right way. I noticed that some of the schools that Alabama plays jack up the prices of their tickets against Alabama because they're making more money for their for the athletic department. The problem is that we're the ones that are paying them when we go in, because of the brand. I hate the fact that the band's not going to be there. It just takes something away from the ambiance of the game. But, is that going to affect the play on the field at all? When you played, did you notice when the band was or wasn't there? And did they ever not, play at a game you were at?
They were always there. Yeah. I mean, it definitely hurt them, especially away games, was that you knew you had the band. You knew you had them playing your stuff, that when you scored a touchdown, you could hear them playing. Whether it be the fight song or even after the game, Rammer Jammer. I mean, again, the fans are going to have to do that for Alabama against Texas. Somebody has to start the dun, dun, whatever, start getting everybody going for that at the end of the game. So I hate it for the fact. But more importantly, it's not just for the players on the field, but again, for the $1 Million Band. I mean, they put so much effort into what they do to be the best that they can be. And, the reason they got their name was because I think it was either a broadcaster or it was a newspaper article that said that Alabama's football team played like, nothing that day. I forget the words that he used, but he said the band sounded like $1 million. And that's where the $1 Million Band came about. So as far as the name of the band at Alabama, so I hate it for the band members. I hate it that they're not going to be there, be a part of that. I think that's an instrumental, part of your, the psychology, the emotions, and all that you as players experience during a football game at home or away.
Guys, as you hang out with us here on the Bama Insider YouTube channel, like and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. That's a way that you say, roll tide, Jay Barker, roll tide, Mick Gillispie, as we talk to you here on this Thursday, getting you ready for Alabama and Texas. We want to get to 500 likes, so hook us up. And the other thing is share. Like, subscribe, and share. Tell your friends about it. We're closing in on 100,000 subscribers, and it's you guys that make this channel go. So please continue to do that. Continue to be a part of it. Hit the bell, too. That way when Bama Insider on the On3 Network drops a show here, when one's live, you're the first one to know. It'll come up. It'll let you know, and you can be a part of it. So do all of those things, and don't forget right now, I'm just trying to help you be part of this team for $1, right? $1, a full year subscription with Bama Insider on 3. It's a limited time deal. So just throw that buck in there. $1. Boom, right in. And then give us a year and see what you think. You get the message board with Jimmy Stein and Clint Lamb. They're always on there banging around. Andrew Bone and Joseph Hastings with recruiting. Kyle Henderson's involved in it. BamaInsider.com right now, part of On3, $1 for an entire year.
I like your On3 hat.
Yeah, look.
Yeah, look at that. Yeah.
And I say this, a shout out to the guys at the Next Round in Birmingham for letting me, jump in here in their studio. So, this is my, my work hat now. And right. Look, you got
I like it. Yeah.
Here.
Love
Thanks.
it. Yeah.
Threw it on and I jump right into this show. Hey, let's talk about Alabama and Texas and kind of get into specifics. The offensive line against Utah State at times looked pretty good. The run blocking inconsistent. Bryce Young ran a lot. He had some pressure in the backfield. What did you see when you saw the football game last year? Offensive line push and then protection.
Yeah, I think we get better in all that stuff. I mean, and again, this is an offensive line that hasn't played a lot of games together and some not any together. So the chemistry, the cohesiveness, the communication, all those things come with just experience. I thought Steen actually had a pretty nice game. I want to see more push in the run game, see more opportunities to be able to run the football when you want to, not when you need to, and being able to get those yards, those tough yards, inside the tackles, and being able to do that, I think, is what opens up more in play action pass. It helps your protection. They're always worried about that as far as getting 3 to 4 or 5 yards on a first or second down run. If Alabama can do that and really protect Bryce, even better than they did last year. For him to get 100 yards rushing, which is more than he had rushing last year, but he just made a great play getting out of the pocket. They're going to have to protect him more. I really think Texas is going to come after him. They're going to let him sit back there, give him all the time. That's what Auburn did. That's what A&M did. They came after Bryce. A&M caused a lot of issues with their scheme, and Alabama's worked on that since that. But we'll see what Texas A&M has learned from what they've seen from last year, what they've seen from game one, and I'm sure they're going to dial up some different blitzes. I mean, if I'm them, I'm coming after Bryce all day long. I'm saying, look, I'm going to stack it in. You're going to have to get the ball out quick. You're going to have to get it to these guys that you have one game, some of these guys experience throwing the ball to, and make him hurry up his motion. We saw when they were able to do that this past weekend, and early on, some blitzes that came, he overthrew. He did not make accurate throws at that time. So if you're them on that defense side of the ball, you're going to apply pressure. You're going to make him make plays quick and make decisions quick.
Yeah, I mean, and that's going to be the formula. Like if they come at him, we saw him on the corner blitz, the first time they got him, and then the second time he threw the pass and it was complete. He also ran a lot and picked up huge chunks of yards when the defense was in the backfield. What about looking at guys like Jahmyr Gibbs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the other running backs that you can throw the ball to, Chase McClellan.
Mm-hmm.
Like these guys, when you're getting a ton of pressure, he didn't have those options against Texas A&M last year, and I felt like it really hurt him in that game.
It did, and I think the biggest thing is screen passes. When a team blitzes like that, if you can get, whether it be outside screens to the receivers, tunnel screens, whether it's just a screen to a running back, let those guys come. Bryce can buy time. He's a great athlete. He can make great throws, get over the top to those guys to let them make plays down the field. But they got to take advantage of that. The other thing, too, is Bryce has got to take care of himself. He's got to know which guy, how to turn the protection. Fourth guy outside, he's my hot read receiver. You on the same page, signaling him, telling him what to do. And he did a lot of that even last game. Some of the signals and stuff that he was doing that enabled them to get a touchdown there when they threw the crossing or the slant route to the back of the end zone. So it's one of those things where I think Bryce is going to be more prepared because of the experience he had last year, the adjustments they made as the year went on, and hopefully, as a quarterback, you'd love for the defense to dial up a blitz. You want it. I mean, you want to be able to recognize it, see it, and if you didn't recognize it the first time, get it, because that's the moment you get the big explosive plays, the moment you can get the big touchdowns. And I think Bryce is ready for that this year better than he was last year.
He's Jay Barker. I'm Mick Gillispie hanging out with you here on Crimson Tide Headlines, part of the BamaInsider YouTube channel. A list of shows, right? And we want you to like and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up as we talk Alabama and Texas. We see all you guys in the comment section. Keep them coming as we talk out this game. All right, Jay, you and I have kind of gotten into this before. Clint Lamb and I kind of agree. We think that this, as an 11 a.m. game, benefits Texas. They play a lot of their games this time. They play Oklahoma every year at 11 a.m. It's kind of built into their tradition, right? Alabama doesn't play a lot of big games at 11 a.m. anymore. Back when you played, you used to play a lot of 11 a.m. games. Now, normally an 11 a.m. game for Alabama is the one that you have to play on the SEC network, and you really don't have a choice on it. Tell us why you think playing at 11 a.m. is going to benefit Alabama, because I know that you feel that way.
Well, because first of all, it's going to be in their they're going to see 12, right? Because it's or is it big noon? That's actually Eastern time. It'll be 11 Central there in Texas. But so 11 a.m. We used to play the 11. I think it was 11:30 Jefferson Pilot games, and I love those games because I didn't want to sit around the hotel all day. Even though I love night games too, but I love those at home where you're able to be in the hotel there and see family and friends, but those night games and those afternoon games, a lot of times coaches want to keep meeting, they want to keep talking, and you just kind of like, look, the hay's in the barn, let's go play the game. Anxiety kind of builds up. So with 11 a.m. start on the road, number one, the fans are not, they're going to be into it, but they won't be into it as they would at a 2:30 or night game. That's a good thing, being on the road, especially at Texas. Can the fans get ramped up? Will they be in the stadium? I'm sure they will, being that it's Alabama. But at the same time, Mick, get there, eat your breakfast. You get probably one meal is about all you're going to get. Get to the stadium, get ready, play the game, and then hopefully you're back home before that 2:30 game is over. We used to go to Vanderbilt. We'd be back before the halftime, back on the plane. We'd all rush and get dressed and stuff. And we're running the ball at that time. I think the one game we had, I think it was 92 or maybe 93 up in Vanderbilt. We ran the ball so much that the game was only like 2.5 hours. And we were like, man, so everybody hurried up in the locker room, got to the plane, and got back to Tuscaloosa as soon as possible. So I think it can be an advantage for either one. It's really the mentality. I think both these teams know a lot about each other. Coach Saban knows Sark. Sark knows him. And I think knowing that, and Coach Saban said this, it's not going to be about what we know about each other, but it's how our players execute. That's going to be the key, how clean the game is on both sides of the football, who makes the first mistakes. Coach Stallings used to always say there's 4 or 5 plays that make a difference in the game. Be that difference. Don't, whether it be positive or negative. So I think that's going to be a key for them. But I don't mind the 11 a.m. start. Some of these guys might, but I liked it.
Do you think, though, for this team that it could affect them in a different way, in a negative way for Alabama? I mean, maybe we're making too much of it, but could it possibly affect Alabama in a negative way? And if it did, what are the things that you would think could possibly come up? I mean, just for devil's advocates reasons.
Being a little bit off schedule. I mean, used to practicing in afternoons at night. I mean, those type of things, more that your body's more used to that than it is being up that early and going. But I'm sure they've worked on things and done things to kind of get their body clocks ready for this 11 a.m. start. You look at from the standpoint, Nick Saban's not going to talk about it. He's not going to address it that much. He's not going to make it a big deal. He's going to say, look, the job is to go out there and play the game and execute at a high level, no matter if it's 11 a.m. or 11 p.m. You got to go play your game and execute it. And he's really good at getting guys ready. The nutrition staff is really good at getting guys ready. So as a training staff, they'll have them ready to play at 11 a.m. Again, not to say that they can't come out and both teams be a little bit slow starts because the early matchup. And also Quinn Ewers, I mean, he's not used to 11 a.m. starts. I mean, he's really just starting for the first time anyway. So it may be an adjustment for him as well. Just go out there, play the game. Don't worry about the time of the game. Just go play it and win it.
Yeah, Quinn Ewers, I would not want to be in his spot tomorrow, going up against this vicious Alabama defense and still trying to figure out the personnel that he has on his team. And, and even it being at home, sometimes that puts a lot of pressure on you as well, right? I mean, when you're supposed to be good and then you fall behind early, bad things happen to you.
I used to tell people all the time that I was more nervous playing in Tuscaloosa than I was on the road. And the reason why, because at that time, and it's still that way to some degree, but a lot of scrutiny. I mean, if you come off the field, you hear your Bama fans booing you, or you hear people yelling at you and saying, hey, throw the ball, do this, whatever else. We're on the road. You feel like it was us against the world, and I think this team will take on that mentality as well. They're a very close-knit team. What I look forward to, Mick, is seeing that the formations and the things they talked about defensively that they want to get to and be able to use throughout the year. And a lot of that's with these spread type offenses where they can put a great pass rush as well as athletes that can cover guys out of the backfield and can stop the run. By doing that, they think it's going to be Will Anderson, Dallas Turner, Chris Braswell. Chris Braswell's gotten a lot of praise all through fall camp, spring. He's the same age as Will Anderson, came out of Baltimore, Maryland, with St. Francis High School. Great story about him coming out of a tough environment and has really grown up as a player. They talk about his work ethic in the weight room. They talk about how he's continued to play in the scrimmages. I think if they can get those 3 guys in, as they've talked about, in a particular set and things that they want to do scheme-wise, man, that gives you a lot of firepower on the pass rush, defending the run, and more importantly, defending the pass.
He's Jay Barker. I'm Mick Gillispie. Thanks for hanging out with us here for Crimson Tide Headlines on the Bama Insider YouTube channel. Make sure you like and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. That's a way of saying Roll Tide. Hit the bell so that you know when we're live. We're talking Alabama football here like we do every Tuesday and Thursday at 2 o'clock. So make sure that you plan on joining us. And maybe some of you guys are watching this on the replay. Roll Tide to you as well. Comment section. Keep it going. I'm going to talk about one of Jay's former teammates that made news today. A guy who, Jay, you could have never guessed that this guy would at one day in his life sign a contract, 10 years, $115 million. And I'm talking about a walk-on wide receiver on that 92 national championship game team, or championship winning team, Dabo Swinney. Does this make him a Clemson Tiger for the rest of his career? I mean, does this eliminate him from replacing Nick Saban?
I would say I think Nick Saban's contract first kind of solidified a Dabo. So he's got 8 more years or whatever. So I think that him, making that statement, I'm going to be around, and I think Saban will. I really do. I think he'll coach till he can't coach anymore, and he'll make that decision when he does. But this is great for Dabo. I mean, Dabo's story is amazing. Just what he came from, Really tough upbringing at times. Also a great upbringing. His mom was phenomenal. We got to meet her in college. She lived with him in college because of her situation. We'll go into that. He's shared it many times, but it couldn't happen to a better guy. And I'll never forget. I tell this story all the time. There's a picture Dabo had when he was coaching at Alabama, and I came into his office. It was when he first kind of came back on with Mike Dubose and those guys before he took his hiatus and did commercial real estate before going to Clemson. But I walked in. He said, "Look at that picture." I looked over, and it's me at the line of scrimmage, and it's David Palmer and Kevin Lee to the right. Dabo's to the left, and I'm on the 10-yard line. And I'm looking the entire time to the right. Dabo's to the left with nobody on him. He's absolutely – there's not one coverage guy. There's not a linebacker. I don't think even the guys in the defense were looking at him. And I never saw him. I actually went, pass it this way. I didn't even look at Dabo's side. And he's like, see, that's the respect you gave me in college. That's, like messing with me and stuff. But he's a great dude, man. He deserves everything he's gotten. And you're right. I think this does solidify him. And I think it did a while back. Dabo, I think, has had a lot of affinity towards Clemson. Clemson gave him his shot. They've supported him. They've supported him financially, not just on his salaries, but the team. He's brought many guys from Alabama, Thad Turnipseed being one who was the right-hand man of Coach Saban. He was able to pull him away. When Thad got there, I thought Thad's going to be there for a year or two. He loves Alabama. He grew up. He bleeds crimson. I called him one day. I said, when are you coming back? He goes, I'm not coming back. If Dab was here, Jay, this is the most fun place I've ever been at. The pressure is not nearly what it is in Alabama. We're going to build tremendous facilities. We got the money behind it. He's got Mickey Kahn. He's got Lemansky Hall. He's got Andrew Zhao there now, part of Alabama, not a part of the team. But he's got Danny Pearman, who coached our team's tight ends in 92, coached the offensive line, is now in the front office, as well as Woody McCorvey, who was our wide receiver coach in the 92 team. A lot of Alabama connections. Behind the scenes, they call themselves the Clemson Tide. So kind of their nickname for their group of coaches and all the people around them. So pretty cool to watch him. And I think they just turn the lights on you. When the lights go out.
The lights go down in the city. Well, I guess that's a sign that they're ready for me to get out of their studio.
That's hilarious.
Oh, that's so fun. Good thing I brought this.
I guess it's your last round.
Yeah, this is my last round. Look, I brought this just because I was wearing a hat, and then it turns out to be like a game saver here, right? Mm-hmm. Well, look, it's as I feel like it's like you put your flashlight on.
Now you look spooky.
Oh my goodness. All right, guys, look, Jay and I and our show has obviously had the lights turned off, except I look like one of those like iPhone effects.
Right. Yeah. It actually looks good. You look good.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Good thing I had this.
I know.
Swinging around there like this. Like and subscribe, though, as you hang out with us here on the Bama Insider YouTube channel, part of the On3 Network. We really appreciate all you guys being here. And don't forget that you can sign up for On3 right now. The BamaInsider.com On3, $1 for an entire year. Jay, any final thoughts before we bid everyone farewell going into this Texas game?
Yeah, I guess did the last round pay their energy bill, electric bill?
The lights went out. I think this is a hint. This is a hint.
Mick, get out.
No, they've been great.
The last thing we were going to talk about today was Bryce Young's commercial, which I love the commercial for Fansville, and I love the fact that CJ is the name of the son, because CJ Stroud at Ohio State, who he's competing against when it comes to the Heisman Trophy. So I love that. I know that wasn't planned. I think it's been CJ the whole time. Maybe not. But when he looks at him, he says, "They're my family now." And he has a great expression on his face. I'm like, he did a great job acting. He talked about how much fun he had doing the commercial. And they talk about, the one commercial where it shows him up there, doing the whatever outlet store. And they're like, man, how many NIL deals does Bryce Young have? Well, I'll tell you this. He has a lot more than Jay Barker did in 1992 or even after. Yeah. But and any of us had. So, but proud for him. I think he represents the university so well, and his demeanor on the field, off the field, the type of kid that or young man that he is, and his family and everything. I think it's been really good for Alabama, and hopefully, and I think it has been. Alabama's been really good for him. Coming from California to Tuscaloosa, that's a big move. His parents made the move to Birmingham, and his mom, I think, teaches. She's over in the same school system my sister's in Trustful. They're back on, man. They paid the light bill. They said, "Let's get some light."
I'm back.
I bet somebody walked out and they got to their car and they went, "Oh yeah, Mick's back there."
They might turn off automatically when it's too hot. I don't know. Because
maybe if you don't move enough.
Yeah, that could be
maybe motion.
They could be. It's a great studio, though. These guys have done a fantastic job of
Great guys.
putting together a studio. I did a show over here with Lance Taylor and Jim Dunaway, Ryan Brown in the other office right there. So I appreciate them allowing me to kind of just slide in here and do this with you. And look,
Yeah.
Boy, there you go.
Think I may have lost you. All right. Mick's kind of have a little bit of trouble with his mic there. There we go. You're
Can you
back
hear me
now.
now?
Got you now.
No,
Yeah.
you can't hear me.
I got you. No, I got you. I can hear you. I got you. Okay. So he's
About
coming back in.
now.
I got you
No?
now. I got you.
Okay, this is a good time for me to.
I got you.
Can you hear me
I
now?
can hear you. I got you. I got you. Is he
You
not?
got me? All right, look, we
Got you.
me trying to turned everything off.
They turned your internet off now.
I know that was on me. All right.
Oh, I
Jay,
got you.
25
Okay.
before I break this whole place down for some reason.
The biggest thing, Alabama's got to go in and take control early on. You can't make the mistakes, can have turnovers, be careful about as far as not having the offsides. That's easy to have in a hostile environment because of the noise. Have great communication up front with the offensive line as well as Bryce and the receivers. And again, I think the experience they got last year playing at Auburn, at Texas A&M, at Florida will carry over into this game, even though it's 11 a.m. start early on. I think Alabama comes away with a big win this weekend. I'm excited for them. This could be a great matchup. And I think it's a really good thing that, there's a couple of recruits out in Texas as well that are going to be there that are big-time recruits. Alabama and Texas are both watching. So we'll see what happens. But Roll Tide. Hope they win big.
Hey, Roll Tide to you too, Jay, and everyone that's watching out there. Thanks for hanging out. If you want the latest on the recruiting Alabama and Texas battles that are going on and who's going to be out there this weekend, easy to find it. BamaInsider.com, and you can get it right now. $1 for a year subscription. Joseph Hastings is flying out to Texas to be there for all the stuff going on as far as high school football goes. He'll report back to BamaInsider.com. Andrew Bone does a great job there as well. Chris Daughtry behind the scenes, and for
Thanks,
Kyle,
Chris.
great job again. And for Kyle Henderson, he's Jay Barker. I'm Mick Gillispie. Thanks for watching Crimson Tide Headlines, everybody. We'll talk to you again next Tuesday at 2 o'clock. Don't forget the tailgate show from the Floor Bama, 6 o'clock on Friday. And this is how the show's going to open right here with these three guys. Chris behind the scenes, me, and Jay.
I might be at Floor Bama.
Come on, man. Come on, sit next to me. We got plenty of room.
I know you do.
I told
They'll keep
them
the lights on.
they'll keep it on. They also told me to. I said I might need some bushwhackers for the show, but I'm going to be very careful.
Good luck with that.
Roll Tide, everybody. Thanks
Roll
for
Tide.
watching.
Thanks, guys.